What's up everyone, welcome to another video. In this video we will talk about how to pass a prop firm challenge, and I will show you my strategy which I use on a daily basis in order to get funded with multiple prop firms. I've actually used this strategy to get funded with more than $1 million in my trading career, and I want to show you step by step what I'm doing and which kind of results it gets on the live market. Actually in this video you will see some backtest, but I didn't prepare the backtest. I was doing everything live. I didn't know what to expect and I was just showing how it would play out with time. It was my first time using this trading software, so I was not really used to it, but let's get into it without further ado. Make sure to check out every single detail, because in this video you will see actually how I trade to pass prop firms, and you can do the same to pass your prop firm challenge. So we're here on Forex Replay. Unfortunately, I'm not really familiar with it as I only used TradingView so far, but I'll do my best to go over this. I usually trade GBP/USD, EUR/USD, EUR/GBP, and NZD CAD, and also GR30 and gold sometimes, but not so often. But I'll do this on GBP/USD as it is one of my favorite pairs. And we will start on, I believe it was May 1st that I got asked to start from. End date, I believe we can go for a couple months maximum. Strategy, I'll call it add. And that's it. Let's get started. Here. Yeah, perfect. All right, let's get started. So what do I want to look for? First of all, let me try to understand how fast this goes. It's pretty slow. Let me see. Okay, nice. Way better now. So getting started with this, let's wait until London session starts. Unfortunately, here I took a look, but there is no Asian range and there's no kill zones, which I usually look for. I trade during London and the New York session after the Asian range, which is something that I really believe it's helpful for my strategy. Also, I really consider if the Asian range is trending or if the Asian range is ranging. This is a crucial thing in my strategy, and at the same time, it is just based on liquidity. One of my key philosophies in trading is that I must take only A+ setups. As you might know, I'm also the owner of Goat Funded Trader, and I have a lot of things to manage. I have my personal business to manage. I have the prop firm to manage, and I also love trading, and trading is actually where everything started from. So in order to make this work, well, it should be anyway, it should be regardless, but having all of these things to take care of actually pushed me to only take A+ setups. So if I have only one setup per week, I will only take one setup. If I have more, of course, I will take more. But having all of these things to manage really actually helped me with my trading. I got even better as a trader because it just pushed me to say, you know what, I will only take a trade if the setup that I want to see happens. If it doesn't happen, then I'll just work on other things. And this is the key philosophy that anyone should have in their trading. So I mark out key liquidity levels, and I just want to see one of these levels to be taken in order to consider trades. In this particular video, I will only take reversal trades because I cannot see my Asian range. But when I do have access to the Asian range indicator, I usually take continuation trades until the liquidity is taken through trading the fake change of character, which is one thing that I mastered in my trading. But here, not being able to see the Asian range, it's kind of hard to actually have the confluences to take continuations and fake change of characters until we actually take the liquidity. So for this reason, I would just focus on the reversal setups, which are usually actually my best setups. So you will see the best version of my setups that I trade, which are the reversal setups. So perfect. Here, London session still needs to start. We're about to start. I put my, oh, let me actually put my time zone, which is the same as London time zone, even if I'm based somewhere else in Canary Islands. Here the session starts, London session starts. As I said, I will be able to possibly, it depends, to possibly take continuation setups until this liquidity is taken if I would have access to the visual indicators that I usually use, like the Asian range and so on. But it's better to focus on the best setups of the two. And as I said already, my best setups are the reversal setups. So here we're waiting for this liquidity to be taken, which, as I said already, liquidity is one of the key things of my strategy. And since we are doing a simulation of a prop firm challenge, I will just assume I'm taking 1% risk per trade. Here we take the liquidity. And now at this point, the only way that I will consider a trade is if I get this type of confirmation. Why this type of confirmation? This is the level that actually takes the liquidity. Therefore, I want to see that happen. For now, we start retracing. It's already past 4 p.m. And after 4 p.m. London time, I stopped trading. So if this would have happened very quickly, so reversal to the upside, confirmation, and possible entry, I would have taken it. Here at this point, it's 4 p.m. I will not take the trade. Perfect. So this is not valid anymore. And we're just waiting for the day to be over. You might be surprised that I'm a lot on lower time frames. I used to trade on the weekly, on the daily, 4 hours, 1 hour, and so on until some time ago. Well, actually some years ago. But then I evolved my strategy into liquidity areas and a lot of understanding of lower time frames. I know a lot of people say don't get lost on lower time frames, and I totally agree with them if you are starting to trade. But I've been trading for 9 years, and I believe that during these 9 years, I've really mastered what I want to see. I'm a big believer, and I really say a lot of times that you need to train your eyes to see certain things in order to trade them comfortably. So I really trained my eyes a lot to see certain setups, and when I see them, I just know that I can take them. When I say train your eyes, I'm a big believer that you should print your charts. This is what I usually say. Wait a second. I say a lot of times I say that it's super important to print your charts. I usually say this to the people that trade with me. And I always print my charts right here. I usually have a pile of good setups and one for the bad setups. And this allows me to actually just take a look at hundreds of good setups that I took. And they usually have a lot of things in common. These are a lot of charts actually. And then I can take a look at all the bad setups and I can see all of the things that I have in common. And many times they look similar. So once you see hundreds of charts at the same time, in the same 20, 30 minutes, you see a lot of them, you just train your eyes to recognize certain patterns. So here the day starts. Sorry, I just wasn't covering it. Here the day starts, and I just wanted to see this liquidity to be grabbed in order to take the trade. And this is still the major liquidity to the upside that I would like to see grabbed in order to take the trade to the downside. If we want to trade reversals, again, I'm not trading any continuations for now. Maybe there would have been some opportunities, but I'm more interested into reversals as it will be easier for me to recognize them in this moment. Perfect. Here it's already 5 p.m. So it's out of my trading times for the day. We are done and we're moving on to the next day. Here we are creating a new low of the day, which goes below this liquidity. Therefore, for the next day, this still remains the major liquidity to the upside that we want to see grabbed. This is the major liquidity to the downside, which we want to see grabbed. This actually needs to be more accurate. And we are waiting for London sessions to start. Here is still during the night. at least night in my time zone. Perfect. And London session at 7 a.m. starts with a nice manipulation. So first of all, we need to make sure that this is put correctly. We want to be very accurate to where we place it. Here is where we placed it. And here we can see a clear confirmation. I'm usually a big believer, and I talk a lot of times about fake change of characters, because fake change of characters happen all the time. Even if we take a look right here, we can see a lot of fake change of characters all the time that they happen. But at the same time, I'm a big believer on, I don't know why I keep saying big believer. I really like to trade good change of characters when they do happen. So here in this case, this is the area which manipulates, and this area gets broken. Therefore, I will look for buys from a 0.5% area. How do I place an order? I'm not sure. I've never done it. 1% risk. Position size. What is that? 1%. Let's do 1%. Okay, I have no idea on how to do this because I've never done it, but let's see. Stop loss 1.2466, just below this. Entry. Is there an easier way to do this? This is my entry, this is my stop loss, and now I need to go on higher time frames to set my take profit, but I would personally like to see this internal liquidity be taken for a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio, even if we might, my minimum risk reward ratio is 1-to-3. So to just make that clear, potentially we could go all the way up here. However, I would never hold a 1-to-18 risk to reward ratio. So let's target, my minimum is 1-to-3. We can target some internal liquidity areas that we have alongside this move before we reach this supply area right here. So our target, we have this internal liquidity, we have more internal liquidity. One way to actually make me decide what I could target is to put the usual premium and discount and just target a premium area. So targeting the 0.5. Why? Because above it, there are many other internal liquidities. There's this internal liquidity, there is this internal liquidity, but there are bigger possibilities of actually reversing when these are grabbed, and actually maybe just we might not actually get to this supply before dropping, or we might not drop at all, but at the same time we might reverse earlier. My overall objective is to at least target this internal liquidity, but we can also target the overall move premium area, so above the 0.5. So now I just need to understand how to place an order because I have no idea. Buy, market, perfect. Let's say I enter from there, yeah. Stop loss 1.2466. Take profit 1.2518, let's say. And risk percent I already saved. Order is not complete. Position size, I have no idea. Isn't that calculated automatically? Um, Well, I'll just use a lot size calculator, I guess. So lot size calculator, I don't want to, okay. Lot size calculator, I'll just go on Good from the Trader website since we have a lot size calculator. And I'm on my phone, by the way. I don't want to do some free publicity for Good from the Trader, but anyway. Risk 1%. GBUSD, how many pips of stop loss we have from 24.76, we have 10 pips of stop loss. Risking 1%, calculate more or less 10 lots. So I don't know if this is what I was supposed to write here. Something very wrong with this. This is in the hub center because I have no idea what's going on. Here it is. Perfect. Draw your analysis. We have it. Long, we have it. Place order, we have it. Risk percentage, we have it. And then it should work. Huh? Balance 100K. Place order, 1% risk. I'm not sure. May I do it through here? Amazing. I'm not sure what just happened, but amazing, perfect. So risk percent, 1% risk. Total amount, estimated loss, probably, I don't know, maybe because of fees, I'm not sure. But anyway, price, perfect. Stop loss, perfect. Price is a little bit in profits, but right, let's make it happen anyway. Take profit 1.25, perfect, amazing. Save. Okay, let's get it done. So the entry is actually a little bit higher, even if I would have entered from 0.5, but for the sake of this simulation, we'll make it like this. And let's see if we get to stop loss or take profit. If we get to take profit, it's a bit more than 1 to 4 risk to reward ratio. Okay, we move to profit, we go. And for also, just to make sure that you understand my strategy, I never take any partial profit, never. and I either take a full stop loss, a full take profit, or break evens. But for break evens, I need to be at least 1-to-1 risk reward ratio in profit to even start thinking about possibly moving to break even. And great, amazing. And that's good. First trade, we hit a take profit, and I'm in profit of 5K on this account. And let's say profit target is 10%. I don't know. There are some prop firms that even have 8%, but let's do 5. Sorry, let's do 10. Got confused. This is all on the same day. After taking the internal liquidity, we drop. Anyway, we're not interested anymore. We will look for the day after. Okay. So what is this? Still on the same day. Still on the same day. Perfect. We go actually grab the liquidity, but anyway, we continue. Okay, and it is time to actually mark out our liquidity areas. Now, unfortunately, the chart is not looking so good, but anyway, we'll need to look for this liquidity. And for the lower liquidity, there's not really anything that I would look for. It doesn't look really good. Doesn't look so good, but I can look for sales above that area. So let's see what happens. Waiting for London start. It's just started right now, and I drop to lower timeframes. I drop to lower timeframes, and Asian range is trending. Well, let's see if I can catch a fake change of Carter to the downside. So Asian range is trending to the downside. The London session starts. I will either look for sales above this, or let's see if I can kind of grasp a fake change of Carter along the way. And for fake change of Carter, I mean anything that doesn't grab liquidity and gives a fake confirmation. So let's see if that is actually the case. Perfect. So here, what happens is that we have a break to the downside and a break to the upside. At this point, what I need to look for is a confirmation to enter sales. Okay. Here we break this area. So I usually mark this out as fake change of Carter. Right. And I will look for sales. I will actually enter sales if this area is reached. Stop loss above the area, take profit at the liquidity where all the people that see the change of Carter and want to enter from what? Demand. Sorry, let me mark it out. From all the people that want to enter from where? From demand. I want to target that liquidity to go lower. So let's see if this actually happens. Let's place an order. Again, let me see if the secret way works again of placing the order. Amazing. Apparently it does. But I don't know why the estimated loss is the same as the possible profit. Let me see. So risk amount 1%. Perfect. On initial balance. Yes, correct. That's what I want to do. Take profit 1.2516. Yes. Stop loss 45. The only thing missing is that it's perfect. This is why it's a limit order, and the price is this. Oh, wait. And the price for the possible entry is going to be this. Perfect. So we have a 1-to-4 again restored ratio, 1-to-4.1. Save it. Perfect. We have a limit order placed. And let's see if that actually takes place. I'll try to make it a little bit quicker. Maybe 5. And we hit a stop loss. So we hit a stop loss and we hit a minus 1%. This change of character was actually a good change of character. So I was wrong and we move on. Moving on, we're still looking for this major liquidity to the upside to be taken, but we are at the same time towards the end of the day. And here, after this crazy move to the downside, we can see that this liquidity to the downside is taken. After this liquidity to the downside is taken, we need to make sure that the line is placed correctly. Here at this point, I will go down to the 1 minute and I will look for this area again to be broken. I really doubt that we will take this area to the upside, but I will mark it out just to take a look at that. Yeah, it doesn't. We still keep dropping, and that's it. We're done for the day. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Perfect. Here is 7 in the morning. So another day starts, and I need to zoom out a little bit. And we don't have any area to look for, okay? I don't have any area to look for, so what I will look for is just higher time frames. In this case, is one of the cases where I really need higher time frames to come and help, which usually are not. All right, never go this much back, so I will not look at that. Overall, we are in a bearish trend. However, looking at lower time frames on the 3 minutes, I will just look for my usual setups. So here we start. At this time, we don't have any major higher time frames liquidity to target. I will just look for the previous day liquidity right here, possibly buys below this area. And in the meantime, fake change of characters until that area is reached. Let's see. So let me try to understand here. Asian range finishes perfect. And we're now trending to the downside. Okay. Okay, we grab this area. We are already in the 1 minute. There is not any structure that can confirm me any bullish confirmation. Therefore, I cannot enter anything. And we're done. Price usually just goes from liquidity to liquidity. So again, here we grab the liquidity. We went to the upside. There's just no way to get involved in this for me personally. Let's move on to the day after. The day after is going to be more interesting for sure, as we have both upside liquidity here and downside liquidity here for possible both buys and sells. It's going to be way easier to trade this day compared to the previous day. So here, still we are inside the Asian range. It's about to finish. Here, it might look familiar, right? Where did we see this already? Let's see if it plays out again. Nothing is 100%, but I really like to take my setups that look as repetitive as possible. We marked out the line at the correct price. Here, we go and check what happens. after grabbing liquidity to the downside, we also break to the upside right here. At this point, I'm looking for an entry. And I'm looking for an entry at my usual 0.5. Now, let me make it as low as possible. Okay. This is my entry. So I need to mark it out. Again, sorry for being a little bit slow on Forex Replay. It's my first time using it. So here, stop loss, take profit, and as target, we can use the usual method that we used. Even on the other trade, we just mark the overall move to the downside. We have the 0.5 right here, and we can target at least all of this internal liquidity to this 0.5 for our 1 to 6. If this takes place, I would pass my phase one already. So this really shows the power of taking the best setups and having a good risk to reward ratio. As I said, I personally take minimum 1 to 3. I know that there are traders that also have a good strategy with a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. I have nothing against that, but this is what works for me. Let's see if the confirmation actually holds, or if we will lose another 1% and we will move on to the next day. Perfect. Looks good. It's a market order. Everything looks great. Let me make it a little bit faster. And this is stop loss. Hit another stop loss for a minus 1% again. And at this point, it's still 8 a.m., so we can still have other confirmations if we take this high to the upside, which we do. We do right here, and I'm looking again for an entry, still 0.5 to 0.5, still the same thing. Usually for my entries, I don't just mark out the 0.5, I also try to look for refinements of supply and demand areas, but again, I'm trying to just have a good and fast approach in this simulation. It's 90% similar to what I usually trade, so it's pretty realistic. So here, let me go to the 1 minute. And as I mentioned, I need to have minimum 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. I still believe that we can go higher than this 0.5. So I'll target minimum 1 to 3 right here. Checking if it makes sense. Yes, makes sense also on higher time frames, as here there are some supply areas that might be reached. And I'll go through 1 minute to check if we have a nice retracement. All right. We are having an entry. One, two, three, looks good. Perfect. And we see what happens now. All right, and we hit take profit with this 1 to 3. We might continue going higher. We might go for this liquidity to the upside. That's fine. I also forgot to readjust this. We might continue to the upside. It's fine. This was my target. We're good with the target. We are up 6.4% in this challenge, and we have left 3.6% in order to actually pass it. This went on for few days, but again, we used to have challenges where you just needed to pass in 30 days. Now there's a lot of challenges with no time limits, so it can be even easier. Now let's go back to higher time frames. So we had take profit here, stop loss where I tried to trade the fake change of character, the fake change of character, which actually was a correct change of character, was a good change of character. And then confirmation, a first confirmation here where I hit stop loss, second confirmation where I hit take profit. And we go for the higher liquidity, which would have been higher over there. At this point, this liquidity is taken. It's New York session starting. We can actually look for sales as well. Another rule that I have in my strategy is that I take maximum 3 trades per day. I never take more than 3 trades per day. And if the first 2 trades are a stop loss, I don't take any more trades. Now, it really rarely happens that I take even more than 1 trade per day, as I only take a few trades per week. But yeah, perfect. Here we do have a confirmation. Let's see if this confirmation holds. My confirmation is down here actually, and I just use the usual 0.5 to look for a possible entry from this supply. Now I need to zoom in, as that supply might be mitigated already. So yeah, this oversupply is mitigated already, but if we refine it, it's not. Anyway, I'll just leave it like this. Actually, it's not mitigated. No, okay, it's fine. But anyway, yeah, if we refine it, it's not mitigated. Anyway, I just want to look for a way to get involved above the 0.5 from a premium zone. And I'll just enter from this area with stop loss above the overall protected high. And we can do the same reasoning even to go to the downside, where we can have the usual, gets a little bit confusing here. 0.5, so we target any zone below this area. I would just target this area for 1 to 3.2. Actually, let's go for this demand area. So we might finish the challenge, and I'll delete this. Now I'm going a little bit fast just to show things. Of course, when I'm actually on charts, I have my indicators on the chart, I have my Asian range, I have everything. I can explain even more carefully everything, but still, this is a very good starting point. Well, anyway. Perfect. So there was no confirmation to actually get involved here. We just dropped. Usually price, as I said, moves from liquidity to liquidity. That's actually what happened. And after taking the liquidity, we dropped. I wasn't able to get involved. And after we go towards my take profit and we almost reach it, I'm not interested anymore into an entry. Therefore, I just delete these things and I move on. And we move on to the next day. Now, guess for which areas we're going to look for the next day. This area and this area. Now, this is because of the current market conditions that we see during May 2022. But of course, if when I went on higher time frames on the 1 hour, we would have had other good areas of liquidity, then higher time frames can actually play a role, an important role as well. Here, that's not the case. I never like to go back and look for liquidity that much back. That's not what I do. So I just keep it simple and just look for it here. Let's wait for another day to start. 6 in the morning, right here. We go on lower time frames. I make it slower. Perfect. 7 in the morning starting. That's good. And this is another day where I could look for fake change of characters, but let's just keep it simple and look for good change of characters for now. I might risk it and maybe enter one for even to just explain again what's my thought process behind it, and then we'll see. For now, nothing is happening. Still, we have our 2 liquidity areas that we want to see grabbed. No, it's not. Let's see if now the New York starts at 1 p.m. we can have a nice push to the upside or downside in order to have a trade. And that's it. 4 p.m. arrives. That's the time where I'm not interested anymore, but we will still have the same liquidity areas for the day after, as they are still our major liquidity areas. So let's take a look at that. And we're just waiting for the next day to start. Here, 7 in the morning, perfect. Slowing it down a little bit. Actually, let's just stay here until the liquidity is grabbed. Perfect. Now, one thing that I really like to look for while this is happening is we are clearly going towards this liquidity, right? If there is a fixed change of character, I will take it. Now, this is not enough structure to consider it is a fixed change of character. Candle, I mean, looks okay, but I will never take this personally, where we break to the upside and downside and we reach a nice demand area. But again, there's no confirmation here. There's not really a lot of structure to take this. So we'll just wait. We'll wait for that liquidity to be taken. New York starts right here. Let's see if we can have a nice push to the upside. No, we just push to the downside. All right, so here still we're targeting this liquidity. This liquidity hasn't been grabbed yet. Here we can have some signs of exchange of character, which is not confirmed yet. But in order to take some buys to target this liquidity, which are super, how you say, aggressive buys. Of course, the setup that we want to look for is sells. But still, if we want to take some buys, we need to see a confirmation. And that's it. We just drop and 4 p.m. arrives and nothing happens. So we move on again to the next day. This can get boring. Sometimes trading actually must be boring because, as I said already in the premise of initially of this video, is that there can be weeks where I don't take a trade. So I was actually surprised that I took 4 trades in this short amount of time. Perfect. So here again, we don't have any liquidity to the downside to look for. We have this liquidity to the upside, but it's not as interesting as it's really far away. This is probably a day where we don't take a trade. Right. So we'll just zoom out and we'll just wait for this day to be completed and to create some liquidity for the next day. Sorry. Perfect. 7 a.m. in the morning. Here, previous liquidity to the upside is still there. It's far away to even be considered, but we will consider this liquidity to the downside. Hopefully this liquidity to the downside is taken during this day, so we can consider buys. Let's see if that happens. It happens right here. Perfect. The liquidity is taken, and let's see where it is taken from. Let's first of all place this correctly. It is placed correctly. Now we go here. And well, I will consider this as we are done because you've seen how my thought process is. And once we take this is the high that takes the liquidity. Once the wicks actually go above it, for me is a good confirmation. 0.5 as usual. It's very repetitive, always looks the same. And here we have a long position. We have a long position for at least a 1 to 3.5, which is our target. And we're done with the challenge. Now, I didn't enter it with Forex replay. You are right. It's okay. But this is overall my strategy. This is the beginning of my strategy with some concepts of it. We're missing all of the fake change of character. You've seen a little bit of it, but without the Asian range indicator, it was really hard to actually understand where it was happening. But if I could give an advice to someone that really is interested into liquidity and trading from liquidity to liquidity, look at the most recent liquidity. You might need higher timeframes, especially if you are a beginner. But if you are more advanced and you feel like you can master lower timeframes, start printing your charts, start training your eyes to see things, and everything will improve with time. Thank you for watching. I hope that this was helpful.